Hey guys, it's Ellen and welcome to my channel. I know we're in the thick of summer, it's starting to close and tons of people are on vacation and sometimes you still want to be creative. So I decided to do a watercolor floral tutorial of doodles that you could do in your sketchbook. And this is that sketchbook that was kind of giving me a hard time. I think it might have redeemed itself. Just using some simple techniques and watercolor pencils, you know, a fountain pen. I actually have a new watercolor that I'm going to introduce you to that I liked, and just a simple thing that anybody can do. You know, it's just getting you out of comfort zone and also keeping yourself creative when you're like on vacation. You don't want to do all this hard, intense painting. You want to just be sitting around and having fun. And so if you're bored, this is what you can do. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials, and a live stream in the top tier. It's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. You can check it out in the right-hand corner in 1 second. It'll blop up. So without further ado, let's get started on some doodles. Alright guys, for this tutorial, let me go over my supplies. I have a set of Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils here. I have that sketchbook that, I'm still on the fence about, you know, the Speedball sketchbook, the handmade sketchbook. I might dabble with my watercolors and just grab whatever you have handy, and paper towel, and I'll just grab like a 10 brush or maybe a small brush, but really going to concentrate on the pencils and just washing some color. So if you have the pencils and you have like a bigger brush, like a number 10 Princeton round, something close by, even just a cheap brush. I mean, this is like something you do on vacation, so you're not bringing your nice stuff, right? You could bring some pencils because it's easy to travel with pencils and like paints and paintbrushes, maybe 1 or 2 brushes. You know, these are just simple ideas of relaxing. So you actually could draw this, like say you're on the beach, you can bring some pencils, you draw this on the beach and you go back home if you're on vacation to like your rental or whatever hotel, and you can just grab your watercolor brush and grab some water and mush the color around where the pencils are. You can do this like in a 2-step kind of situation, right? Is a mechanical pencil if I wanted to draw out some flowers and whatnot. So excuse my nasty fingers. I paint with acrylics, so I don't just do watercolors. So I don't know how artists are so beautiful with their fingernails, but I'm painting acrylic paint. It gets all on my nails, you know, because I'm really going for it when I'm painting. So it might take days and weeks to get out. So I used to get manicures years ago, but I stopped because it was futile. I was just getting wrecked the next day. All right, so I have green paint on my fingernails right now from a commission painting I just did. I don't do them often, but I just did one recently because I felt like this person had already bought something, so I figured I'd keep doing. So, super simple doodle. All right, think of circles, wiggly shaped circles, right? I might just start with just like, and we can paint like the negative area too. So I'm just taking my mechanical pencil and just kind of wiggling a circle, see? Now that could be a rose. Just think of circles in the beginning. Circular shapes, right? Spiky shapes, round shapes. Just kind of doodle. So you know how you do doodle, you're doing like little daisies. You do the same thing with watercolor pencils. So I did this, you know, I have a mechanical pencil, do the round. And what I want you to just play with is, say I grab a pink here, like this fuchsia color. You know, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to go in the round kind of circle. Let me zoom in a little bit better so you can see. Just kind of wiggle it. And then you can kind of just do some scribbles. Look at that. I mean, come on. Anybody can scribble, right? This is super easy for any beginner. See, I'm just doing these scribbles, like little scribbles. Kind of like little bumps. Just keep going outward around the circle. It almost looks like a dahlia. You know? You can start off with really small, just do something like that. You can put like a nice kind of cool like red flower. See? Just as a kind of a scribbly, right? You can do maybe a purple. This paler pink flower. I'm kind of doing around this white one, by the way. So I'm just doing a little bumpy 4-petal flowers. You can put a yellow center. Just kind of gathering around this white one I did. And I can actually take my gray pencil. This is just go over this little white area. If I want to keep this like a white rose maybe, or a white flower, right? Just go around it with the gray pencil. Grab some nice pretty pinks or reds. You can make a spiky center. It's that fuchsia kind of pink. Add some red. You know, by the way, add combinations of the colors. See, I did the pink and the red, and do another pink. And I can do another pink in here. And when you put the water to it, it's going to be kind of funky. Watch, you'll see. It's going to blend. So it's almost like you're blending the watercolor. See, I'm just doing this like spiky kind of. So I'm going to show you with the brush. Take just water on your brush, right? And now you're going to just push the color around. Look at that. So it's going to blend. I'm tapping back on the paper. By the way, when I move my brush, I tap on my paper towel. I'll put it close so you can see. So you can leave some strokes from the pencil there and then not. Kind of blend it. Really kind of cool, right? And if you wanted to, you just take some water and kind of whoosh around the pencil. See, now because you have watercolor paint kind of there now, you just take that with your brush and you just kind of go dot, dot, dot. See how I'm just going this movement? Dot, dot, circular, leaving some white spaces. Now we have that gray pencil. You can kind of wash it a little bit. I'll leave it. See, it's scribbly. It's kind of pretty. Look what happens when you put the water in this one. See? Just whooshing it around. Now you can dilute the whole thing. Come back and do the little scribbles again. Right? So I'm saying you could have just filled in like the whole flower here, like pink. See? The 4-petal flower. You could, I mean, you sit there chit-chatting with your friends on the phone, drawing like 4-petal flowers. When you come back with just the watercolor brush, just kind of dabbing with a little bit of water, and oh, look at that, how cute, right? Just kind of whooshing the watercolor pencils around, and you still can see the pencil lines, which I kind of like. It's really something sweet about it, right? When it dries, you can go in and do all kinds of fun stuff. So you can also just do like, I talked about those little blobby flowers in one of my tutorials. I just basically, it's a rounded flower. So you can kind of fill it in. And then just look at this. Fill it in with the pencil, right? Do like another one here. See? Just shading it, holding it on its side. Like that. And then later you go back with your brush. You just fill in with water, and you get that blobby flower. Turns into this really kind of sweet, rounded kind of shape. And when that dries, you can go back in with the pencil again and make some spiky shapes, or just take your brush and do some stuff. So this is just ideas, when you're on vacation and you're bored and you have some things close by, like bring the pencils. See, I'm putting some simple leaves, some stems, fill it in with green here. More leaves, and you can just feel, like I said, like I just showed you here, you just hold it on its side. Now you can get really fun and funky with the pencils. What do I mean by that? Okay, so if you ever tried shading with a regular pencil, you can do it with a colored pencil. So I'll make like a leaf shape here, right? And you can just kind of press hard on the outer edge and then lightly press your pencil down, going towards the center and the side, right? And as you get towards the sides, you're pressing a little bit harder. You can do it in a circular motion if that works for you. See, they press hard at the edges and lighter, hardly at all in the middle, right? Just going lightly over it. And you go back over it again. And you see, that's how you shade in a pencil. You get that 3-dimensional look. And then, of course, you can go back with your brush and just fill it in. It's kind of like a cheat. If you don't know how to do the watercolor edges where they're, darker on this edge and lighter on the center, you do it with the pencil. So this is another sketchbook entry. This is like a 3-fold combination tutorial. You can grab smaller brushes if you have them handy. I might grab my 8 long round. And then I can start to play with my watercolor. Also, this is another idea of doing a negative painting. So I'm going to grab some of this peacock blue and yellow to make green. So we're going around this white flower here. We're leaving that. Just doing some simple leaves. This is just a doodle kind of, tutorial. So we're just making simple leaves. You can take this 8. I talk about these strokes all the time. Just tap, push down, pull back up, pull. Now it's a little blobby, but then you can kind of go like that, swing to the sides, swing to the left, swing to the right. Push down, pull back up. There's a little practice. Add little squiggles. See, we're painting around this white, the negative space. You can get even darker still, right? I have a new color also, opera. No, I love it in gouache. Woo! Intensity. It's almost like the bright rose, but just a little more intense. Let's see what happens if we put this over here. Oh, it's so intense. So I'm doing like a blobby flower. I'm going to come back in with the pencil and do some fun stuff. Doing a blobby flower down here. I call them blobby flowers. Just basically circles. You can take that opera, right, almost straight from the tube. Take your brush and play with. Look at that. Woo! The strokes. It's intense. It's like neon. I kind of love it. These guys get washed out. You can just go back over here. Make those little 4 3-petal flowers. So we're painting around this bloom. Drawing around the bloom. Got purples. Get really funky with your shapes and different types of flowers. Doing like a daisy here, even though there's no purple daisies. There's no rules. This pretty blue color, almost like the Verdier blue, right? That I love so much. It just lends itself to like those little blue petals. And then you go back in with a bigger, the brush with just some watercolor and just fill it in like this. If this is dry yet, yep. This is dry. So then you can go back in with your watercolor pencils. Just kind of fill in the center. Again, with these kind of spikes. Maybe I'll grab red. And just build on the doodle. It's just a way to go. Ooh, spiky. You can add some funky flowers with the pencils. What do I mean by that? So they don't have to be like realistic looking flowers. Here's the opera color again. Maybe look like a shape that's like a tulip. Almost like a half circle. See? I'll do another one up here. This color. And when that dries, we go back in and we can add some fun stuff to it. And you can take this, just take that one color and you do all kinds of things with your brush. See, I'm just kind of pushing it around the circle, wiggle it, leaving some white in between. And that's how you create like a fun, funky, like almost like a rose. I'm grabbing like hardly any water, put in the center, just little marks like this. And then you push bigger strokes on the outer side. Little ones on the inside. I tend to always kind of like have a darker amount of strokes on one side so that the light source looks like it's coming from the left here. Get a little darker with the paint by using hardly any water. This is just a doodle, see? Just a doodle. Same thing with minimal water. You can go back in here and just kind of outline with the tip of your brush or pencil your blooms. That's always fun to do, so outline blooms just with the paintbrush. Oh, it needs a little bit of water to actually move. And this is all mindless stuff. So if you only had this one brush, which is the Princeton 8 long round, you could do a lot of cool stuff with it. See? Now that blobby color is done, you can go back in and do the same strokes like this. Just his little like half, almost like upside down smiley faces. See that? Doot, 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 doot. Try to play with some intense colors, you know, get out of your comfort zone. You'd be surprised. See, I'm really liking this color a lot. So you just take the color and wash it down lightly, and then you use it more concentrated to go back in. Right? Look at that doodle. Just tapping little dots on the top. Just changes that these little stamens a little bit. Now I might water that down again for that white rose. I guess I see myself, this is how I paint intuitively. I see myself gravitating towards keeping this pink theme now. And I'll just really lightly paint the outside. Just those little simple little strokes. This is not difficult. See, I put those little stars. You can just kind of wash the color around. You can still see the pencil lines, which is kind of pretty. A little purple blobby. And then green, with like a stem in for this like almost tulipy kind of flower. Add some more yellow, make a chartreuse color. Put those kind of leaves. Ooh. See what we're doing here? We're building all around this flower. So start with one flower and build from around, go around it. Some people don't know how to deal with composition, and it's very difficult for them. They feel kind of stopped. I say sometimes you can start from the left, from the right, and the top, bottom, down. In this case, you start from an actual object, which is the flower, and move on from there. So you would start with this big one. Listen, you don't have to just keep it pink, too. I mean, get creative. You can grab some of this blue pencil, throw some blue in here, little highlights. It's just like a doodle, guys. This is not supposed to be really stressful. So, you know, add this really kind of cool turquoisey blue color. Just changes everything. Just kind of wiggling the pencil around. The pencil has a chartreuse kind of pencil, actually. How cool is that? So then you have some like painted ones, and then on open leaves. Play around with that. Playing around with all the colors. I think orange would be kind of fun. Again, the little blobby, you can kind of just make a little rounded. You want to fill it in. I have an orange one. So I can go back over this one, maybe with a red pencil. I'd like the combination of the pencil. Just do some squiggles. See, I'm just squiggling it. And the flowers, just squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. Take a red one and do some, I'm just squiggling. I know you guys could do this. Wiggle, wiggle, squiggle. Right, even this turquoisey color. Just kind of goofy, kind of squiggly flowers. I'm loving the turquoise with the pink. So do another one up here. Just squiggle. Right? You can add some black. I'll get my my pen. So I might play around with my fountain pen that I just bought. When the areas are dried, go create some really cool. You can just go in here, go back and do all those little squiggle lines again with the black and the leaves. I love this fountain pen, so smooth. There's other ones in the market that are like real expensive. It's kind of fun just to create, see, little squiggly daisies, leaves. Play around with all this stuff. It becomes more and more interesting, right? You can go around like those little petal flowers. again with the purple. I'm just doing dibs and dabs. I'm not drawing with this pen everywhere. So it's moving around the page. See how I'm just kind of just touching it here and there. Not every single flower or leaf is going to get the pen everywhere. And here. And you're becoming a doodle. You're like just really just kind of wiggling the pen and doodling around. And if we go back to this kind of tulipy looking flower, it's that bright pink. Just kind of add some funky, look at that, elements to it, see? It's not a realistic flower, but it's fun. And then at the ends you can just add little, this is the doodle part. This is where you just kind of experiment and play with color. All that good stuff with color pencil, you know, with pens, with paint. Going back and creating more green here. I'm going to get my Prussian blue and get some really deep green in here. So now when you add in a dark color, right, next to that white, going in between some of these flowers that I did, really kind of thick, it really gets to pop. So not only is this a doodle tutorial, negative painting tutorial, you know, all that fun stuff. All these ideas you can play with. See how I just kind of went with this dark color all around, in between the crevices of these flowers, creating like a leaf. I think the sketchbook might be redeeming itself. I don't know. Put one of those big purple, I mean, see, it's almost like a bluish leaf. Put one out here too. There is some resist, but it's not as bad as the other pages. Maybe it was just those couple pages. I don't know. I'm going over that with this dark color. Now that really pops, right? It's good to have it like, maybe I went, you know, like surrounding the flower. Maybe I would have done just maybe around one flower. Give it a little more interest, but I'm kind of playing around with adding. So maybe I'd add darker colors that are not leaf colors. I can take the like ultramarine blue, kind of play around. Ooh, now that's getting kind of funky, right? Ooh, look at that. See how excited I get? Put some blue in here. And then we're just playing, guys. It's all about the play. And see, I'm just wiggling the brush, making these simple flower shapes. This doesn't require lots of skill. It just requires action. The action is more important sometimes than the skill. And that's a little bit wet, so I'm soaking some of that paint up. So it's a combination of the pencil, everything in the kitchen sinks. Okay, you know it's Friday. I'm losing it. Going back into this one with the color pencil. Now instead of putting in water, I put in a color. You see that? To move the pencil around, but you still see the pencil lines, but it's a color. So it's watered down watercolor. See this? And you can still see some of the pencil lines. I just wanted that orange to be brighter. I'll put one up in here, yellow. The yellow with this opera color, look at the nice pretty orange it creates. So just doing these wiggly blobby shapes, and then you just go back in and fill it in with all this good stuff. Here I must clean my brush because this blue and the orange would make it ugly. Well, might have a little orange in there still. So then, you know, you get this one little blob kind of thing going here. I'll add some greenery. And I don't want to get too crowded. I think I'm just going to keep it low key, like right here. Just add a few more things and call it a day. Just really simple, ditzy little leaves out here. little stems. I always like to do these kind of fun stems coming off my bouquet. It looks like a bouquet, doesn't it? And you could just do some little leaves kind of connecting to it. Makes it really interesting. Little ditzy leaves. See a little squirrel. This took no effort, 0, and I think it's kind of coming out kind of nice, right? And you're playing with pencil, you're playing with ink, you're playing with watercolor. You're just kind of filling the page. Some more leaves up here, and some stems. Stems, See, I just love to do this wiggle with the stems. And then I'll clean my brush, and I'll get this part all watered down too, just to fill that in. I think I really like the ultramarine blue too, kind of combination. Put some like right next to that bright pink color. Just really popping it out. Something special about that blue. Blue and pink are great. You should try some blue and pink combos. They're so much fun. So there you have it, guys. This is how you do a doodle. Simple floral doodle. Like I said, once this dries, you can go back into pencil. Actually, sometimes you can kind of go in when it's a little damp. Play around with that too. See? Now it's like a little thicker. And I'm just doing these squiggles. Swiggle. You can kind of have it coming out of, out of the blob. That's kind of fun. Get even darker in here. Squiggles. And again, play around with just taking some pinks or whatever, pencils, whatever color. Actually, the turquoisey blue. Just gonna put some little doodads down here. Go back over that turquoise. Go into the little daisy. Just adding some fun, more, more fun elements. Yellow. You can continue this like for days. Yellow daisy. Just squiggling this. I'm not really putting much effort. Just grabbing the pencils. Didn't take much effort at all. So I played with the new color. I played with some pencils. I played with the ink. And I just washed around some color and just squiggled some color. It was pretty simple to create this little fun floral. You can go back in with this. Maybe I would take my brush and grab that ultramarine blue because I'm really gravitating towards it. And do squiggles with the blue, with the tip of the brush. And it just changed the whole flower. Again, playing around with all our tools in the toolbox. Just to create some fun flowers. Not sunflowers. I'm just going to wash in that yellow. And do some little, all kinds of stuff. Go back in here with the yellow. Just put yellow in between a little blue. I am just moving around the page, you see? You want to just kind of move around the page. So you can see I went back in, my phone got overheated and died. And I took some of the ultramarine blue and I kind of just dibble-dabbed, adding all these little highlights. Instead of black, you can use blue in here and in here, play around with that. I water it down a little bit, maybe add some blue. Again in here, in the flower. Playing around with that. Go back in here, dibble-dabble. Guys, just play with your stuff. Like I said, you can just start to draw with all your pencils and go back to your place and then fill in with water or watercolor, whatever you brought. Don't get discouraged and please just have fun. And sometimes when you're on vacation and you're doing some little goofy illustrations like this, I don't know if it's kind of goofy, but some great things come out of it. I'll just keep playing with this. Adding in some greenery. Let's see what comes out of it. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you're having a great summer, enjoying some time. I know I went to the beach yesterday. It was so worth it. It's great to take time off and just, do stuff for yourself, because it's pretty hard these days. It's not easy. And doodling is good. It's very actually therapeutic. I'm going to go back in here with these blue. See, what happens is you naturally start to do some kind of gravitational, either pulling towards just with the watercolor or a color. But when you start to play, you'll see that the intuitive nature of what you like and desire will come out. And then you create something really cool. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the bell notification button, please hit the bell notification button. And also check out my Patreon. Like I said, I have more exclusive tutorials over there. I had that caramel by the sea building that I did, which was a little more intermediate and advanced. And I kind of do those advanced tutorials on Patreon that I don't do on YouTube, because it's a longer tutorial there, like almost an hour. So it's well worth the price that I actually charge for that. So for a class, I would charge way more than that. All right, guys. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.